Hey guys, welcome to Lenin 8. In this video, we are going to discuss another interesting pattern, that is Floyd triangle. What is this Floyd triangle means? So it is a series of natural numbers which are printed in this pattern. That is 1 in first row, then in second row 2 and 3, then in third row 4, 5, 6, like this in fourth row 4 numbers, in fifth row 5 numbers, and in the right angle triangle pattern. So this is what the meaning of a Floyd triangle. I recommend you to pause the video and try your own logic. Let us understand how do we get this one. To get this triangle pattern, so in any pattern, so we'll be using the corresponding rows to represent one for loop, and next we'll be using to represent these columns another for loop. Yeah. So this is the general standard format of getting any pattern in terms of rows and columns. So now, if I number these rows as row 1 and row 2 and row 3 and row 4 and 5, so in first row, how many numbers we need as output? One number. In second row, two numbers. So first print a first number, then there is a space, then we have to print the second number. Similarly, in row 3, three numbers. In row 4, four numbers. In row 5, five numbers. In a simplest way, the number of uh, elements in the output is nothing but equal to the row number, correct? So in each column, so based on the corresponding row, those many numbers we have to print in that particular row and particular column. So again for second row, so first one and also in second column also we have to print it. That is equal to the number of rows. Yeah. So this is the just simplest pattern. And here, so if we just number these columns as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then is there any logic between the corresponding rows or corresponding columns to get a particular number? First one, it looks like, okay, we can print either a row variable or column variable. But what about second one? We can print, we have to start printing from 2 and then the next number. Then followed by in the third row, it's supposed to start from 4. Then in fourth row, it's supposed to start from 7, right? So first and second, it looks like it is like I value. But when it comes to third, fourth, fifth, that is pattern is not working. So for all these things, so we'll be using one external variable, and that variable has to start from 1 and has to end till 15 if the number of rows, n is nothing but number of rows, equals to 5. Then a corresponding external variable, say let me call it as k, it's supposed to start from 1, and with all iterations it's supposed to end by 15. Yeah, so for this, what is the corresponding Java code? It's very easy. So for this, so inside a method body, after taking this n as input, say for example, int n equals to 5 for getting the number of rows that we have. And here we need one external variable for printing the values as output. So k equals to 1 to start because that's our first number. Then one for loop to get the rows, which is always outer for loop. Int I equals, so it is starting from 1. So some of the patterns where we'll be starting from 0 and some of the patterns where we'll be starting from 1. So it is always depends on what we are going to get as output. So here 1, then I should be less than or equals to n because 5 times, then I plus plus. So this is the outer for loop. Inside this outer for loop, to get the columns, we need one inner for loop. So for int j equals 1, and the j should be less than or equals to, so this is one important point. So here, how many elements that we need to print for each column? Is it 5 elements every time, or only depends on I value the number of elements? If I is 1, so in this particular column, 1 element. And if I is 2, so 2 columns output. If I is 3, 3 columns output, like this. Then here it is an important point. J is supposed to be less than or equals to I only. And j plus plus. So what's the purpose of this inner for loop? To print a corresponding element and also having a space if it is more than one element, right? So for that, So system.out.print, not println. So print of, so print that k value plus, so because we need a space in double quotes, give one space, semicolon. This is the purpose of inner for loop. Then once a line is printed, then outside inner for loop, inside outer for loop only. So here we have to move the cursor to next line. So we are using a print statement. That's all. This is the simplest logic of getting this Floyd triangle pattern. Yeah, let us also execute this. To execute the same program, I have taken a class, inside that a method which is taking one integer input, which is nothing but the number of rows. And for printing, I'm using external variable called k, and one for loop which is starting from 1 ends up to 5, or in this example up to n, then each time incrementation by 1, so I plus plus. That's for rows. And one more inner for loop starting from 1, and here is the important point, it's supposed to be run up to equal to the I value only, and then each time incrementation by 1, so therefore j plus plus. So here we are using one print statement to print the number which is present in k variable, and after that we need one space, so here I'm using a double quotes with one space. Then once if prints a value called say 1, in next row it should be 2 and 3, and in next row it's supposed to be 4 5 6 like that. That's why it has to be incremented by 1, so k plus plus inside the inner for loop, then followed by outside the inner for loop, but inside outer for loop for the cursor to move to next line after each row. So here is a println, empty println statement. Then to execute this, so here is the class name and it's a method name. So from another class with main method, so we are creating the object and calling that method. So let us execute. So here I have given 4. So therefore we supposed to get the output as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So if we change this input to 5, so let us save and re-execute. So which is giving the output of, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 up to 15 in right angle triangle pattern. So that's what the meaning of a Floyd triangle. So from starting from 1, which we call as natural numbers, then in each row depends on the row, we supposed to print the consecutive elements. I hope you understood. And for me to make more videos, please post your questions in the comment section. Thank you and see you in the next video.